What makes the American soccer fan truly unique? Well, we just did a study of 9,000 American football fans, American soccer fans, to find out about the contours of their passion, which leagues they love, which teams they prefer, how much Messi's arrival here has shaken fandom up, how much Christian Pulisic's transfer to Milan drew eyeballs to Italian football, how women's football fandom is growing and so much more. We actually partnered with the experts at YouGov, who are one of the leading consumer intelligence companies in the world, and I wanted to run through some of the key findings with you, because I think you'll find them truly eye-opening. So we did this survey. Honestly, the purpose was when we started covering soccer in America in the summer of 2010.
14 years ago.
I'm Laura Linney, and this is Men in Blazers.
Following this sport was honestly a lonely pursuit. We all felt a bit like Captain Kirk standing on the bridge of the USS Enterprise, with the United States stubbornly remaining global football's final frontier. The one nation that almost proudly had resisted the lure of the global game.
Hey, I hate soccer.
Do you think soccer is boring?
I do.
That's no longer the case. There's now a massive, diverse, passionate, soccer-loving fan base here in America. But the United States-based fan that I'm going to talk about and run quickly through the key findings is different to the rest of the world. You can actually find the entire report at meninblazers.com/survey. Number one, truly, madly, deeply, the American love affair for football is real. See, the fan base here in America, it's soccer mad. We asked respondents, how interested are you in professional soccer? And 87% of respondents indicated that the game was, quote, one of their top interests. Anecdotally, that's somewhere in between buying a jersey and getting a tattoo. While 85% said that they were either extremely or somewhat passionate about the entire league that they support. Now, YouGov data tells us more. Much like, following TikTok trends or using the word Riz in conversation, American soccer fandom tends to skew younger. 60% of Americans between the ages of 18 and 24 say that they are soccer fans, as do 59% of those between the ages of 25 and 34. And almost half, 46% of Americans between the ages of 35 and 44. Now, we are a big nation. I think population around 342 million. So these are enormous numbers, and I'm sure, boomers, the sport will eventually come for you too. Finding number two, American soccer fans, they're not monogamous. We pioneer multi-hyphen-up fandom. Perhaps the most fascinating way American fandom is singular and idiosyncratic compared to that experience in Europe is this. Americans see absolutely no conflict or no irony in supporting multiple teams.
Come here. Which one of us?
Now, if you're an English football fan, the club you support, it's often predetermined at birth, like your eye colour, or if you've got a dairy allergy, whether it's because of geographical connection to your local club, whose ground is just a short walk from your home, because of a multi-generational relationship between family and club, in which support is passed down to an almost biblical lineage.
They take everything we had, and not just from us. From our fathers, and from our fathers' fathers. And from our fathers' fathers' fathers.
Those fandoms, they're preordained and they're unshakable. But when it comes to America, fans here live by a creed. More is more. Or why just have one team when you can have two or three? Americans find absolutely no cognitive dissonance in supporting multiple teams in multiple countries or leagues, because they're most often choosing as free agents, shorn of familial, shorn of geographical connection, able to choose with fresh eyes from afar. Think of it almost as free will versus preordained football fan determinism. Just 1/4 of respondents, 24%, said they pledged their allegiance to a single team. 32% support two teams, but a remarkable 46% of American fans have the emotional bandwidth to support three or more teams at the same time. By the way, we very much want to know who the 3% of respondents are who follow more than 6 teams. Just want to know how they find the time and can survive the emotional heartbreak. But this hybrid support, it's so common. When we meet fans at our live shows, we'll ask them who they root for and hear from them a variation of, my Premier League club is Everton, my German team, that's Dortmund, AC Milan are my Serie A club, Wrexham, I love Wrexham, and I also support the Washington Spirit in the NWSL. So, although supporting multiple teams could be unspeakable offences in England, right up there with pouring milk in first when making a cup of tea, it is not uncommon amongst us American sports fans. YouGov data supports this, even in the 4 big domestic sports leagues, MLB, NBA, NFL, NHL, American sports fans actually follow an average of 2.3 different teams. teams, and that kind of sporting bigamy is highest in the NFL, where the average fan may follow 2.5 teams, supporting half a team, by the way. It's what I sometimes feel like I do with Everton. Finding number 3, love the one you're with. Americans change their team loyalties. Football supporters in England probably all heard some variation of the old fan adage. You can change your hairstyle, your address, or even your romantic partner, but you cannot, under any circumstances, change your football team. That's certainly not the case in the United States, as illustrated by the 12% of survey respondents who said they changed the primary team they supported within the past 5 years. And here's a remarkable truth. Again, because of the lack of geographic proximity, because of the lack of generation-long family connection in the United States, if a team stops resonating with an American supporter because maybe they're no longer as glamorous a choice as they once were a decade ago, yeah, you and me both, Manchester United fans, because the club's culture or its identity has changed, or because they were relegated from the Premier League into that slightly harder to follow from abroad second-tier championship, then there's nothing to stop that fan from just freely moving their affection and attention to another club. See, US fandom, it's fluid. And the question is, what does that mean for the teams? It means they can never take American fandom for granted. They have to keep storytelling emotionally and reconnecting to their fans, or else their eyes will wander and it'll be another team shirt that they'll be wearing next season. Finding number 4, favourite teams. Americans typically love a winner, or do they? Most popular teams amongst respondents are Liverpool and Arsenal, who were both selected by 18% of our fans each. Authenticity, history, tradition, vibrant fan cultures, and the ever-inspiring nature of these clubs makes them sirens for American fans choosing their rooting interest with those fresh eyes. Those sides were followed by Tottenham Hotspur, 15%, Chelsea at 9%. 9% of respondents actually said they didn't have a favourite club, while almost 1/3, 31%, said they were a fan of teams in other leagues. But the fascinating thing, 2 teams who were surprisingly unpopular amongst respondents, both Manchester clubs. Manchester United made claim to be the most popular team in the world, but in this study they attracted less than 8%, and their crosstown neighbours, those 4-peat frictionless winning machine champions Manchester City, have won the hearts and minds of less than 5% of respondees. Fascinating overperformer, Everton Football Club, a team who, yes, have walked a traumatic path, one filled with perpetual battles against relegation, with, trust me, Book of Job levels of suffering. I don't know how you explain this. Partially Tim Howard, partially a tradition of American player representation, the power of storytelling, and I guess a widespread love of pain.
You want to know how I got these scars?
Finding number 5, Stars and Stripes tinted glasses. Signing US star players is the quickest way to grab America's fans' attention. Sign an American, or better yet, Americans, and we will come. Last summer, Hershey, Pennsylvania's very own Christian Pulisic and New York City-born Yunus Musa both packed their suitcases and presumably subscribed to Duolingo Premium and moved to AC Milan in Italy's Serie A. And the arrival of 2 members of the US men's national team has driven respondees' interest in the Rossoneri, with 61% of survey respondents saying that they are now somewhat more or much more interested in the Italian club. YouGov Stats actually discovered that the following of AC Milan amongst American soccer fans jumped by 50% from 12% to 18% in the very first 2 months after Pulisic's transfer was announced. And the following of Serie A, the entire league, increased by 27% from 41% to 52% during this same time period. In addition, almost 2/3, 63% of respondents said that they check in on the European clubs that currently have American players on their rosters, including Premier League's Nottingham Forest, the Netherlands' PSV Eindhoven, and Italian wonder Juventus. Finding number 6, the Messi Effect. How one man eclipsed his own league. So in the summer of 2023, the single hottest ticket in the United States had less to do with tortured poets and Taylor Swift than it did with a 5'7", 36-year-old Argentinian World Cup winner who decided to take his transcendent talents to South Beach. 8-time Ballon d'Or winner Lionel Messi moved to Inter Miami, an MLS team that was only founded in March 2020, and single match tickets began to sell for 4 figures or more, thanks to this one summer signing. And among our survey respondents, almost 1/3, 32%, said they've started watching Inter Miami matches since Messi's arrival, while 21% that they've tuned into MLS matches more often. Since he joined Inter Miami, Messi's proven to be more popular as an individual than his entire team, if not the entire league. Finding number 7. The power of storytelling outstrips the quality of the football, aka why American fans are falling for the English lower league teams as if they were indie bands. I don't know if you've heard the news, but November 2020, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney brought Wrexham AFC, then a 156-year-old club in North Wales, which was eking out an existence in the deep bowels of the 5th division of English football. They've since spent 3 seasons and 35 episodes chronicling the club's tenacity and the entire town's resilience. In the FX series, Welcome to Wrexham, and the club has earned back-to-back promotions. And as a result of this show, its success, and its Marvel superhero co-owner, 1 in 2 survey respondents said that Welcome to Wrexham and the team's remarkable journey have opened their eyes to England's lower leagues. In addition, those lower leagues, including England's Championship, League One and League Two, were the second most requested leagues when respondents were asked what they'd like to see more coverage of. There's an incredible hunger for storytelling about players, about towns, characters, the traditions, the pies, the human wonder of what's perceived to be authentic football. This is a huge opportunity for these leagues if they can comprehend the extent to which American fans crave authentic British football and the stories connected to it. Finding number 8, MLS. It's fighting for attention here in its own backyard. The English Premier League is a global juggernaut. An overwhelming majority of respondees, 89%, say they follow the league daily or weekly. 69% of respondents follow the elite European competition, the Champions League, daily or weekly, and at least 4 Premier League teams participate in the Champions League every year. But that's not always the case for American soccer fans, who are often free to choose a team for any number of reasons, either meaningful or arbitrary. 1/3 of survey respondents, 33%, said that their own chosen club is in the Premier League, while almost another third, 31%, indicated they support teams from a league outside the UK, Italy or the United States. But just over 1/4 of respondents, 26, said their primary team is right here in the United States, either in MLS, 18%, or the National Women's Soccer League, 8%, which is a fine pivot to finding number 9. Women's football, where player allegiance is paramount and far outstrips team fandom. When it comes to the women's game, supporters are predominantly fans of a specific player first and the team second. Many supporters see a talented player with an engaging personality or a compelling backstory as a way into a particular club, and if that player then changes teams, then these supporters, they may go with them. As a result, 33% of the women's game respondents say that in the past 5 years, they've changed the main team they support. And almost 2/3, 63% of them say they support 3 or more clubs at the same time. Players have such strong social media following in the league that they often outweigh that of their clubs, which is a phenomenon which is super common in the infancy of any league, even one that's growing as fast as NWSL. And finally, finding number 10, transatlanticism. American fans love to travel to the Premier League. When it comes to watching soccer games live and in person, American supporters, they're not just checking out their closest professional side, they're also willing to use their passports and their wallets. Over half of respondents, 58%, say they attend an MLS match at least yearly, if not more often. And over 1/4, 28%, said they go to an NWSL match in a similar time period. 35% of respondents say they check out a lower league game at least once a year. But it was astonishing to learn that over 1/4 of respondents, 28%, get this, say they attend a Premier League match every season. That's just staggering to me. There's no greater testament of the centrality of soccer in the American fan identity, the depth of passion, of connection, and the willingness to act upon that fandom. That's it. The report actually goes into all of this in much greater depth. Make no mistake, we are living in remarkable times in the United States, because the American soccer fan may live in Los Angeles, Chicago or Manhattan, but cheer for Liverpool, Chelsea women or AC Milan as full-throatedly as if they were born a mile from those teams' home stadiums. Yet, despite their obsessive dedication, this American fan base is fundamentally different to those in Europe. And we present this comprehensive study of over 9,000 American fans in the hope that teams and brands and entire leagues can better understand the shifting tectonic plates that will continue to propel the dizzying growth over here as we charge towards Men's World Cup 2026. You can find the entire report right now at meninblazers.com/survey.